Hey, how's it going, Kelly?
It's going great. How are you today?
I'm still wide awake. I'm good though.
Okay.
All right, guess we shall begin.
Yes, please.
All right, so my first one for you, how you feeling about this season as it's coming to a close? We only have a few more episodes left, and we've seen Veronica go through a lot of stuff during the season of BMF.
Oh, yeah. Since the introduction, it's been a roller coaster for her. But yeah, I cannot wait for you guys to get to the season finale. There is so much going on, and the season finale is so amazing. I have to say, doing the research because we came back, we've already started production on season three. Um, you know, I went and reread the season finale to just sort of, get the ball rolling again for season three and figure out where I was and, get all those reminders. And I have to say, it hit me the same way it did, just as hard as when I first read it. It's so great. And there's such great writing in this show. It's amazing. Oh, I
Uh,
can't wait.
it's all good. At what point did you find out that Veronica and Bryant were going to hook up?
I actually was warned about it early on because they had to, get me to like allow me to mentally prepare. I've been in this business for what, 35 years or more, and I have never actually had to do an actual like graphic sex scene like that. That happens in 208. Surprisingly, right? After
Right.
like 30 something years, you would have thought, but it's a different era. It's a different day and age now, and people are they're so used to seeing so much, right, with cable TV. And it's almost as though if you don't show any of the real violence, any of the real sex, any of the real stuff, then it almost seems as though it's too fake. So they had to sort of prepare me, and it took me a long time to mentally prepare and get there. And believe me, when we shot that scene, I was still unprepared. I was so nervous. But there was a lot of dieting going on, a lot of working out. I was like, I was, it was really nerve wracking. But it was carefully choreographed, and I think done in such a great way that it was really done with a lot of taste and done well. Yeah.
Was there a coordinator on the set when that whole thing happened?
There always has to be, right? There's a intimacy coordinator, which is a new job that didn't even exist, for the first few decades that I was working. But certainly after the Me Too movement and all of that, now you see every show has like an intimacy coordinator. And I've even been working on other projects where even a kiss requires an intimacy coordinator. It's people have to be so much more careful and respectful, and I find it really helped, to be able to talk to someone else in that way, where it made me feel really safe and cared for, and free to be able to be creative, right? Because you can't be creative if you are feeling defensive the entire time. Yeah.
I see your point on that. Um, when it comes to Brian's obsession of trying to take down BMF, what are your thoughts about this? Because he's using B Mickey, he didn't use any of the other members. So, what are your thoughts about this?
Right. I mean, I realize that you probably have to have a certain amount of obsession to be able to do this job, right? um my my challenge is being able to rein him in. I'm sort of his moral compass, right? Be able to work within the parameters and still be able to get the job done. I do find myself, of course, crossing that line with him in helping him, not necessarily with B Mickey, but with covering up the drugs that he takes out from evidence. And, therefore I am more sort of intertwined in this partnership with him. So yeah, I think there's every step for her is a challenge to her moral compass.
Now, due to the nature of the show, which includes drugs, violence, along with BMF itself in real life, what intrigued you to take on this role?
I have to say, I was really nervous about it when I was first offered this role. I was nervous because uh it was, the first season had already been shot. I didn't come in until the second season. I was like the new girl on the block, being the non, black person on the show as well, the only one. It was really kind of a lot to be stepping into. But the writing is just phenomenal, and there was so much to work with. Jin's character is so deep and has so much backstory. It was really a pleasure to be able to do the research and, find out about who she is, and, dealing with her self-harm and the sister, and finding out about the city of Detroit, and where Asian people of that era sort of were in that where they fit in that city. There's so much to work with and so much to draw from in this character.
Now, when it comes to the Detroit police, especially at that time, especially since you're going to prepare for your character, did you speak with any of the Detroit police that had any insight on the investigations of the actual crew?
I have not had the pleasure of speaking with any cops that actually dealt with the real BMF. But the writers and producers of the show are in constant contact with Meech and Terry, um, and other people, of course, who were part of their group, family even. And so I get fed a lot of information, and also my character was not somebody that actually existed. This is a person that was completely created by Mike Lee, who is one of the writers on BMF. But I feel like Jin brings so much more depth to the show, in the sense, she is not a black character. She is really coming from a different point of view, coming off of uh in the 80s in Detroit. There was so much anti-Asian sentiment because of the Japanese automotive industry, the murder of Vincent Shin, being a result of that. There's so much to work with for this character. It's so awesome. It's so much fun being able to dive into this world.
Yeah, because this world is quite different than the worlds I've watched on the Power universe.
It is crazy. And the fact that it's really based in so much reality. I love on the show how it says, like, this shit could have happened, it might have happened. But it's like, you could not write the stuff that really did happen in real life was beyond what I'm sure people's imaginations could have even gone through. It's a lot to be able to work with.
My final one for you, when it comes to your conversations with Lil Beach, what insights have you gathered from him, whether if it's on the set or off the set?
With who? Sorry.
Lil Beach.
With Little Meech. Oh, I have to give it to this guy. This is a man who has come into this huge role, right? For him to be a brand new actor, taking on the lead role of a show that is based on his family. he had so much writing on him, and he has really worked so hard, and it showed. I mean, he has done such an amazing job, and he's got this incredible charisma as well, right? He's got that same smile that his dad had, that flash that you cannot resist. His work ethic is amazing, and I have to give him props for the work that he has done. He's been awesome, and such a nice, respectful young man. It's been such a pleasure to be able to work with him
Today, and how are you feeling about this season of BMF, especially since we're about to be towards the end of this season?
Feeling good, man. I am amazed with the response and the reaction of the fans and the audience. That was something I've been anticipating all the way down to us getting to this last wire, hopefully people are enjoying my character. I know some people aren't with his, what I'm saying, his decisions he's been making. But it just makes it more and more of an entertainment aspect, and brings more to the film and dynamic. So I'm happy. I'm happy with everything.
A few episodes ago, that reveal of B Mickey having a wire under him, I thought it was cleverly done. What was your reaction when you saw that on the script? Because he had to take his hat off. The next thing you know, oh shit, he has a wire, and then boom, shit goes down.
It was hard to play. Who wants to play a snitch? You feel what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it was a good scene. It was a good scene. It pulled some of the strings of the loyalty and brotherhood that was been revolving around Meech, Terry, and B Mickey. It just goes to show what B Mickey will do to make sure he's okay, and not only him, his freedom, his life, and his mother. And now that his mother is gone, he's just trying to find his place, in all of this, and just trying to find his soft spot.
Speaking about his mom, how did you prepare for that scene? Because I feel like you cried on contact with that, did you?
It took me about an hour to really get into that mode. I had to restrict myself from people, all the extraterrestrial motives, and and things that could alter my mindset. Just getting there as an actor, it sometimes can be challenging. I never lost my mother, so thinking about that really got me there. I love being able to show my chops though, and Randy really gave me that opportunity to do that in that scene. Very, very emotional scene. And I love being able to, as a Black man, to show that we can be vulnerable and that we are, it just goes to show the experiences and situations and people that we go home to, that a regular everyday corner boy gangster that you see every day, who do they go home to, and what do they go home to, and how do they handle that internally, emotionally. And I just loved, I had fun navigating all that.
Yeah, I can tell it's very emotional, even though it took you about an hour for it to come out and to bring those emotions on. So my next one for you, Detective Bryant. For some reason, he's targeting B Mickey just to get close to the crew. Why do you think he didn't target any other members?
None of the members had a family member in the hospital. Nobody else had 2 homicides over their head. Nobody else had their gun taken away from them in the investigation facility. So as Detective Brian, as his character, he was just playing it smart. He was trying to figure out, all right, who is in control that I can have control over. And he tried with Terry, didn't work. Been trying with Meech, and he's still trying, but he found that soft spot within the group, and that was that you know what I'm saying, unmental, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, distorted B Mickey. And he found that within him. So just playing with his mental, playing with his mother, playing with his life. He knew B Mickey was going to do whatever it took to make sure his mother was okay. He can't take away Meech's mother and put her in jail. He couldn't take, Markeisha and, put her in jail, So there's like a lot of things that, what I'm saying, that took place where he had to be very observant of the people that was a part of Meech's organization. And he found somebody.
Now, since you've been on the show, did this made you want to look up Detroit's history at that time period whenever you're prepared for particular scenes?
Yeah, for sure. And mainly, I was fortunate enough to go to Detroit, film a couple, film and take advantage of the exterior shots that we had.
Yeah.
When it came down to the Riverwalk, when it came down to certain cars, when it came down to certain cemeteries that we were walking through, I got that industrial feeling from Detroit that I just poured into and transferred into my character.
The last time I was in Detroit was in 2007. That was for WrestleMania 23.
Oh, you like WWE?
Oh yeah, I do.
we gotta talk. We gotta talk. That's what's up.
Oh yeah, I've been a fan since the early 90s. So.
I'm so mad at the WWE now though, because it's like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I wish we could talk about that right now.
We'll talk about that at the end, because you're my last one. We'll talk about it at the end.
Okay, sure. So BMF third season was also announced. At the same time, they announced that there are going to be spin-offs involved. How happy were you when you first got this news, especially since the very first episode of this season got the same or up to the same number of views as The Last of Us, which was quite impressive.
I love it. I love seeing the reaction and response of the audience, man. Like that's the main, our audience, we gotta understand, is mainly positioned to people who grew up in Detroit, people who grew up during that era, people who grew up wearing those clothes with that type of lingo, hairstyles, driving those type of cars. We wanted to make it as authentic and real as possible, and that's our objective every season. And I feel like we executed that, and still is, adding on different cast members as far as Leslie Jones, we got Monique, we got Eminem, we got Snoop Dogg, all the way down to 2 Chainz, and now we're bringing Neo into the mix. We're just trying to compete. We're trying to make it as entertaining as possible, and also gravitating. We got to make it's such a real story that is so sensitive, that we have to pinpoint on all of those markers to make it to where somebody's watching it and it illustrates the story for somebody to believe and not question.
Interesting insight on that. So when it comes to the actual BMF members in real life, have you ever spoken with any of them?
Nah, I mean, I've talked to Terry, dapped him up or what have you, but I stay in my lane. Everybody was fortunate enough to talk to their characters that they were portraying, but I really wasn't able to talk to B Mickey per se. So I just had to grab what I could from the context, from the dialogue, and the script, and just analyze everything and understand where they were coming from. And more so, I educated myself who Meech and Terry was more throughout the script rather than me having conversations with them.
Now, my last one for you. Ever since you've been on the show, have you ever wanted to take home anything from the set?
What? Yes. The clothes, the shoes, it was certain rings, they would open up a box and be like, pick one.
Oh my God.
Yes, it was just like that, bro. Like I was able to pick out my Dookie chain. Shout out to Kia Bounds. She was head of the costume department. And she was just very hands-on with me to what I could wear. What did I think B Mickey would wear, and make my aura you know what I'm saying, mix with his. You know, I love 80s. I love the 90s. I love that type of style and clothing and music and just the whole essence of it. So yeah, man, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun and yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.